展希06年城大社工系畢業嘅，做青少年服務為主啦。之後而家自己最新咧就係做一啲關於生涯發展嘅 project 嘅。我另外再同咗一啲行家搞咗一個叫科創社工學會，講翻科技同社工之間嘅結合。
Hello， 大家好啊！我係黃啟欣 Melody， 心理學2009年嘅畢業生嚟嘅。咁而其中嘅一年咧，我哋都有機會咧去到實習，接觸到多啲社會上實際有需要嘅人。咁呢個經驗咧都幫到我喺我畢咗業之後揾翻一啲我自己有興趣啦，同埋覺得有意義嘅工作嘅。最後咧都成為咗臨床心理學家啦。
大家好，我叫許日佳，咁我係11年嘅犯罪學畢業生嚟嘅。畢業之後我做好多工啦，政府嘅公營機構咧、NGO、私家偵探都有做過。咁啊而家咧我就喺一個瑞典嘅保安系統公司就做緊 business development manager， 喺香港、澳門嘅 business 同埋 project 嘅。
我係阿 Nock 啦，係11、13年阿 Part 數時我畢業，畢咗業之後就我一路都係做廣告啦，約莫做咗7年。咁呢個係我嘅全職咧。咁其實我仲有一個副業咁啊，其實全香港好多人可能都聽過我把聲。另一個副業就係配音。呢兩份工作同阿 Part 數時好似都冇乜關係，但係入面其實有好多唔同嘅 connection 都係喺大學嘅時候發現得到。
好難答添。當初喺中學嘅時候都揾唔到自己想讀啲咩嘢，打開 Juvis 嗰本書，以前讀過嘅理科、文科嘅又唔中，咁就睇到有心理學呢樣嘢咧，就好似好有趣，可以知道關於人嘅諗法啦、行為背後嘅啲原因啦。咁咧我就將佢擺咗落我嘅 list。
關鍵字咧係熱血啊！我自己由中2開始已經做義工啦，大概去到中5嘅時候啦，都決定咗即係自己人生都想做個社工，繼續去為個社會去做多啲嘢啊。
點解寫呢兩個字咧？咁我諗大部分嘅大學生咧，其實都有呢兩個字喺個心裏面。犯罪學啦，顧名思義咧，就係即係了解犯罪嘅一啲事件啊、學說。
啲記性好差。
影響最深。
實習啦，可以去當地睇翻佢哋點樣去幫一啲有重性嘅精神病患者。咁我覺得嗰次機會其實好寶貴啦，同埋都可以俾我哋睇到佢哋日常生活係點樣樣。咁同埋香港其實從來都冇用過佢哋嗰啲嘅模式去喺社區裏邊幫一啲嘅病人。咁所以我覺得呢一個都好 inspire 到我去諗一啲好實際 day to day 嘅啲方式，去幫到佢哋可以過得更加好。
去溫哥華實習咧，亦都係我第一次出國去做嘢可以攞到啲經驗啦。即係嗰陣時我都係做一個難民村嘅服務嘅。
好多時候個路會成日講幫人，咁但係其實讀完社工係好重要，要記住嘅就係我哋做社工唔係幫人，而係帶動人哋去揾到自己嘅能力，揾到自己嘅潛能，令人哋感覺到被充缺。咁呢啲都係我諗係讀書嘅時候一個概念上面好大嘅轉換。
出 pool 咧，可能我有 generation gap。出 pool 係佢本身 single 咁，跟住佢出去有男女朋友啊嘛。年青嘅時間咧，好短暫。當然啦，用情要專一啲咧。如果有機會嘅話咧，你哋都不妨出下 pool 啦。住咗一個成block 7樓嘅7室嘅。我自己房對面柯美其實係2位外籍同學仔嚟嘅，冇機會認識啦，係一個大學。
Hey, hello, welcome everybody. This is the information session for the Bachelor of Social Sciences in Psychology. I am the major leader. My name's Dr. Tina Rochelle. We also have with us our associate major leader, Dr. Vivian Chan.
Hi, everybody.
And we also have 2 students here with us. We have Brenda, who's a final year student. And we have Alison, who's a year 3 student and our Bachelor of Social Sciences. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off and I'm going to give a little briefing about the programme, and then we're going to move on to 2 briefings from 2 different students. First of all, immediately following me, we'll have a briefing from Alison with her experiences of being a student on the programme. And then we'll have Brenda as a final year student with her experiences of studying on the programme here at CityU. So let's make a start. So first of all, some myths about psychology. So maybe when I was younger, when I was first starting to study psychology, people said to me, "Oh, what do you do?" I say, like, "Oh, I'm studying psychology." One of the sort of like common reactions from people would be like, "Oh, wow, you can read my mind." So like eye roll, yeah, no, we wish we were psychic. No, psychologists are not mind readers. Another myth about psychologists is that psychologists only work with people with mental health problems. Absolutely not true. I'm from England originally, from Manchester, and I trained as a health psychologist. And so before I moved to Hong Kong, I was working in a hospital in London, and I actually exclusively worked with people with physiological health problems, physical health problems, and chronic diseases, not people with mental health problems. So there's another myth about psychology. Another myth is that psychology is all about doing tests and personality tests and all of these sorts of things. That's absolutely not true either. So what is psychology? Psychology is the scientific study of human behaviours. It's evidence-based, based on empirical research. It's working with a very diverse group of individuals and covers quite a wide range of different areas and subfields as well within psychology. And so looking at the scientific study of human behaviour, if you think about what's going on now globally around the world with this pandemic, thinking about social connection and how important that really is at the moment when people are sort of limited in terms of how many people we can interact with and all of these sorts of things. And so thinking about how people are helping each other out during the outbreak and how maybe these behaviours helping to change the way we interact with people a little bit. So this is sort of one element of psychology. And then thinking about the importance of social connection and the significance of social isolation and the impact that this can have on our mental health. It's probably never been so important now if you think about like what I was just saying with the pandemic. Thinking about how about medalists in Olympic Games in sports competitions, thinking about who would be happier. Would it be a gold medalist, a silver medalist, or a bronze medalist? Well, actually, there's research that shows us that bronze medalists are actually oftentimes more happy with their medal than a silver or a gold medal winner. And some of this is about the fact that maybe the anticipation and the expectation. Did you expect to be able to get a medal at all? Maybe you didn't, and then that impacts on your reaction afterwards in terms of your satisfaction. Thinking about the pressures nowadays in the sorts of modern societies that we live in, people are getting married later, all of the pressure with education, all of these sorts of things. So psychology is the scientific study of human behaviour, and as you can see with what I've just mentioned on this slide and the last slide, human behaviour covers a diverse range of different sort of behaviours and aspects of subfields of psychology as well. And so in terms of introducing you to the psychology team, sorry, it's just a load of names listed out for you here, isn't it? But this is sort of like a comprehensive list of the people within our team. And so you've just been introduced to Vivian, and then myself, Dr. Basil, contributions today with Information Day. And he's got expertise in sports psychology. We've got different expertise within developmental psychology, health psychology, clinical, educational, gerontological psychology. Yeah, so there's lots of different areas within psychology and expertise within the team to be able to sort of help with students' development and teaching. And so what are the key features of our programme now then? So one of the features of our programme is that we have quite a strong theoretical and scientific training through the different courses and the incremental sort of increase in the difficulty and the development of the training and the rigour of the training for students. We also have an emphasis on laboratory-based training. We've got a psychology laboratory that's currently housed in Consultation, which is just a few minutes walk away from the university near Sekit May. We've also got a research volunteer scheme, which is quite a key feature of our programme. So it's where students would get the opportunity to work alongside academic members of the department on empirical research, so that students are able to get first-hand experience. Because another feature of our programme is the individual research project, and so that takes place within your final year. And so thinking about how you're sort of leading up to your final year, what would you like to work on? What sort of research would you like to conduct? Maybe if you sort of, as a student, got engaged in the research volunteer scheme, this might give you a little bit of first-hand experience, and so you can make more informed judgments later on, maybe about sort of like which exact area you'd like to work on, sort of like the methodological approaches that you'd like to use and things like that. We also have opportunities within the programme for both local and international internship experiences. And this takes place at the end of the third year of study. So it takes place in the summer, just before students enter into their final year. Also on the programme, we believe that we've got an excellent programme, a very competitive programme, but we also really absolutely encourage students to take up as many opportunities for diverse experience as they can, such as joining overseas exchange programs, and so this is one of the features of our programs as well. So we do encourage students to get to sort of like metaphorically dip their finger in different pies. At the end of the day, when students graduate from the degree, you are all coming out with the same qualification. So what helps you to stand apart from another, your fellow student's CV? Maybe some of that might be the diversity and the experience that you've got, whether that be research volunteer, international experience, all of these sorts of things. Another feature of our programme is that we have a joint bachelor's degree in psychology with Columbia University. I'll explain a little bit more about that later. And then we also have international benchmarking as well. And so I mentioned briefly on the previous slide that we have a laboratory, a psychology laboratory in Consultation. And so within the laboratory, there may be some elements of teaching may be conducted on site in the labs. Biological psychology is one example of a course where students may be required to attend sessions in the lab. And so you can see here, this is just sort of a brief overview of some of the facilities that we've got within the laboratory. So you can see here we've got psychophysiology, neurophysiology systems, we've got the EEG system for the MyLab. We've got observational sorts of facilities as well, with playrooms where you can see the researchers can be on the other side in another room where participants can't, where the researchers are not able to, the participants are not aware that the researchers are observing them. We've got eye tracker system, and we've also got VR, virtual reality as well. So we've got diverse facilities available at the laboratory. I mentioned a couple of slides ago that we've got one of the key features of our programme is a joint bachelor's degree in psychology with Columbia University, and that's in New York. So far, it's been a very successful programme so far over the space of the last 5 years of entry. So we've had 11 students join the programme so far, 7 graduates, and we've got 4 current students. And so with the joint degree programme, what students would do it's for students who are coming on entry on the 4-year programme only, and students would conduct their first 2 years of study in Hong Kong at Singdai, at City University, and then do their final 2 years at Columbia University in New York. Like I just said, it's quite a competitive programme. It's also quite an expensive programme, but we do have scholarship and funding available for the programme as well. And then we also have sort of like 2 rounds of interviews internally, and also where faculty from Columbia University come over and then do the final selection with students as well. So this is a great opportunity for students who are on this program, and we've got students so far who are going on to do further degrees, PhDs, again overseas in the UK, in the US, working in the US, working locally in Hong Kong as well. So yeah, great opportunities for students to be able to get international experience with eligibility onto this joint degree program. And so looking at the types of admissions to the program now, so I'm sure that you've joined the admissions talk already, so I'll just keep this brief, but basically we've got 4 types of admission onto the psychology program. We've got two that are basically a 4-year curriculum. So we've got major-based admission, where you would already select your major directly. You already know you want to study psychology very clearly. So yeah, you'd come in directly through the major-based admission. We've also got a 4-year curriculum that would be through departmental-based admissions. So maybe you think that you'd like to study psychology, but you're not 100% sure yet, but you know definitely that you'd like to study one of the majors within our department of social and behavioural sciences. So for example, social work, criminology, sociology. So then you would maybe want to give yourself a little bit more flexibility and freedom to be able to declare your major at the end of your first year of study, towards the end of your first year of study, should I say. So with that, you would come in through the department-based admissions route, basically. So first year within SS, building up to 3 years within the psychology major. And then we've got advanced standing 1 and 2, advanced standing 1 and 2, where students would either do 3 or 2 years respectively within the psychology major. And looking now at the sort of total requirements for core course, for sort of core credits. So the total major requirement on a 4-year curriculum, regardless of whether you come in directly through the major-based admissions or department-based admissions, is 54. And the same for advanced standing 1 as well, total major requirement of 54 credits. With advanced standing 2, it's a total major requirement of 48. And so for 4-year and advanced standing curriculum, you can see here 36 credits is made up with your core courses, and then you've got the freedom to choose with major electives up to a total of 18. So students of the 4-year curriculum and advanced standing 1 will have to take basic psychology, which is the major core course, foundation course for us, and this is counted towards foundation year courses, whereas students of advanced standing 2 don't need to take 2 further courses because of prior experience. And so looking at the curriculum structure now, here you can see what we, so we start off in the first year with sort of general foundation core courses within the departments, build up a sort of like a behavioural and strong social science foundation for students before moving on to their 2nd and 3rd years, where you would have the choice of all of these so a build up in sort of core components of research and sort of behaviour as well. So we've got social psychology, learning and behaviour, cognitive, behavioural, biological psychology, developmental psychology, personality and individual differences, and then we've got a few research methods courses as well. Like I said to you before, one of the key features of our programme is sort of like quite strong theoretical and scientific training. And so these are sorts of like builds up the core foundation to help the students with this. And then in terms of major electives, you can see here there's a whole host of different courses for students to choose from. So a few slides ago, I mentioned that students have the opportunity to engage in the internship programme. So that's an elective. And as I said, that takes place at the end of year 3 in the summer, just prior to students entering their final year. And another key feature of the programme is the final year research project. And so that takes place over the entirety of the fourth and final year through semesters A and B, where students would be expected and required to conduct their own independent empirical piece of research. Yeah. So all courses are worth 3 credits, except for the final year project, which is worth 6 credits as it's over a 1 year course. And so here you can see where students can build up their sort of like training towards more specialty areas, where you get introductions to that here within sort of like clinical psychology, counselling psychology, health and educational psychology, language, aging, abnormal psychology, neuro and cultural psychology, for example. Yeah, so there's, you know, the program has a variety of different courses for students to engage in. In terms of professional affiliations now, so students upon graduation are eligible to apply for graduate membership of the HKPS, the Hong Kong Psychological Society, and also for overseas professional psychological associations. So our bachelor's degree is in line with the British Psychological Society as well, so that makes students eligible to apply for graduate membership of the BPS as well as the American Psychological Association as well. And then with the foundation of core courses that we've got that are essential to most to pursue advanced training at master's or at doctorate levels in research and in applied psychology as well. So this includes clinical, educational, counselling, industrial and organisational, or like myself, I went on to pursue a master's degree in health psychology before carrying on with my doctorate. Right, now looking at sort of what are the career prospects for a psychologist. The world is your oyster in lots of different ways. So there's a variety of different career paths that a psychology graduate could choose from, whether this be within HR, human resources, training and development, banking and finance, advertising and media, education, health, or public and social services, for example. And so jobs that require strong research and analytical skills, which is a strength of a psychology graduate by virtue of their training. So marketing and project management, for example, program evaluation and management, testing and assessment, conducting research, and policy implementation. All of these sorts of areas would be relevant for a psychology graduate. And so what do our psychology graduates go on to? What's the trend with our psychology graduates here at CityU? A large proportion of our students do go on to further studies, actually, whether that be with practitioner or research track. But we do also have quite a healthy proportion of our students that just go directly into employment, whether that be in HR, related occupations, marketing, media, all of these sorts of areas as well. So, right, okay, that's all for me for now. I'm going to hand over to Alison, who's going to share a little bit about her experience.
Hello， 大家好啊，我係 Melody， 係 CityU。
Sorry, we're not showing you that now. I'm going to show you that later. Yeah, we're going to start off now with Alison's going to give a little bit of sharing about her experiences on the programme, and then we're going to move on to Brenda. And then following on from that, I'm going to show you a video from a former student who graduated in 2009 and is now working as a clinical psychologist. So I'll pass over to Alison. Thank you.
Hello， 大家好，我係 Alison 啦。咁想藉住呢個環節分享少少我嘅經驗，咁希望幫到大家了解多少少啦。咁so far我就喺城大讀咗心理學2年啦，而家都 Year 3。咁我覺得成個program 都好全面嘅。咁雖然係正在喺度 develop 緊啦，即係都比較新啦，但係我都覺得好全面嘅，即係佢係呢個課程嘅設計係好生活化啦，同埋好科學嘅，即係佢會教我哋腦神經嘅科學啦，同埋 有好多數據統計，我哋都要學識嘅。咁2年嚟咧，我都有做過好多嘅research 嘅 assignments 啦。咁有研究到屋企人嘅性格人格啊，同埋佢哋退休前嘅計劃，同埋退休後嘅心態轉變啊。又或者研究社會對於男女喺性方面喺性觀念上嘅唔同啦。咁好多呢啲嘅 research 研究嘅功課咧都好有趣嘅。咁同埋我都知道有個 tutor 咧喺度研究緊點解有啲女人覺得個性個樣比較女性化嘅男人咧。即係例如點解有啲人中意啲女性化嘅男韓星咧，即係覺得佢哋比較有吸引力咧。即係呢啲好多心理學嘅題材咧，其實都好有趣嘅。咁最大嘅得着就係可以俾我學到好多唔同題材嘅新嘅知識啦。咁同埋讀咗2年嚟咧，都覺得自己有幾大嘅改變。即係例如以前會比較被動啊，喺屋企人有爭拗嘅情況之下咧，都寧願做個局外人嘅。但係即係讀完心理學之後咧，有好多新嘅知識都會推動我去主動了解同埋開導我嘅屋企人咯，我嘅父母啊，同埋我嘅阿哥咯，即係去同佢哋分析下啲因素啊，帶出其實有好多人都可能會有呢種咁嘅思考謬誤，或者係因為有啲乜嘢嘅性格啊，同埋依附模式咧，先會令到彼此有咁嘅諗法咯。咁其實讀呢一科係俾到我更大嘅推動力去處理屋企嘅問題啊，同埋喺日常生活中對人對事嘅待人接物嘅方法咯。咁同埋我覺得最主要都係要喺學校主動啲去揾多啲嘅資源啦，尤其是我哋每個人都會有個指定嘅 academic advisor，即係有個教授係可以喺學業上俾到好多意見同埋指導你嘅。咁雖然喺疫情底下咧，我之前報嘅外國交流就 cancel 咗啦，但係我都有揾到我嘅academic advisor 去即係俾一啲guidance 我啦。咁我就好榮幸可以有呢個機會去從旁去學習嘅，咁就可以去佢嘅實驗室嗰度去嘗試咗好多唔同嘅新嘅器材啦。咁我都知道個 lab 都慢慢購入咗好多新儀器嘅。咁喺呢個 study 裏面咧，我就嘗試研究，即係啲老人家喺放鬆狀態下嘅面部肌肉啊，例如我哋眉與眉之間嘅位置，同埋我哋壓力程度，整體健康上面嘅關係咯。咁有趣嘅係，我都發覺我都睇到一個研究咧，係話打完 Botox 之後咧，個人係真係會經歷少啲嘅負面情緒嘅，因為你都冇得皺眉頭啦。咁呢啲等等好多嘅實驗嘅機會咧，都會俾到你大開眼界咯。咁另外我都有喺出邊join 呢個心理衛生會啊，同埋一啲康復中心嗰度去參與更多啦。 就第一手接觸唔同嘅康復者啊，例如一啲有憂鬱症啊、有自閉症嘅青少年啦，同埋一啲經歷過焦慮症、憂鬱症之後康復咗嘅老人家啦，即係去第一手親身去體驗下點樣去 apply 我喺呢個課程度學到嘅嘢去現實生活中咯。咁我覺得心理學除咗係幫助治療一啲病患者之外咧，最緊要都係我哋有一門咧係叫做正向心理學 （positive psychology） 啦。咁除咗注重治療心理疾病之外咧，其實係幫助到我哋盡大可能去發掘自己嘅強項啦，同埋重新審視對於快樂嘅追求咯。即係我喺城大2年嚟啦，就覺得心理學都幫助我好多。即係例如喺家庭方面啊、愛情方面啊，或者係解釋社會現況方面咧，都係好大嘅幫助嘅。咁除咗多角度思考之外咧，都有有好多有趣嘅知識啦。咁生理上咧，其實係幫助到我哋去明白自己嘅表情啊、飲食習慣啊，同埋荷爾蒙係點樣影響到我哋嘅精神啦。咁精神上咧，心理學就可以令到我哋更加有智慧去處理生活上嘅人同埋事啦。咁社會上咧，我就認為以後嘅出路都可以好廣嘅，尤其是現今香港社會近年嚟都有好多事發生啦。咁有研究就指出咧，每3個香港成人就會有一個咧係有呢個創傷後壓力症嘅。咁其實作為心理學 field 裡面嘅大學生啦，咁之後都可以做學術研究啊，或者臨床心理學家。咁呢啲都可以幫助到之後去點樣 resolve 呢啲嘅心理疾病嘅問題咯。咁總括而言咧，我就覺得so far 我都好 enjoy 喺城大呢2年嘅school life 啦。即係除咗心理學俾我嘅insights 之外咧，我都覺得整體城大我所認識嘅同學都好友善啦，即係唔會太 aggressive 嘅，但係都好 nice 好友善，同埋啲 professors 咧都係好 supportive，去俾我哋接觸好多唔同嘅new experience 咯，係啦。
Thank you very much, Alison, for your sharing there. Right, we are now going to move on to a student who's just in her final year, coming up to graduation really soon. So yeah, let's introduce Brenda now for a new session. Thank you.
Hi everyone, so I'm Brenda. I'm originally from India and I've obviously been in Hong Kong for the last 3 years, studying in the City U psychology program. So I mean, usually one of the first questions I get asked as a non-local student is, why would you come to Hong Kong? What is it about Hong Kong that got you to apply here instead of maybe to the US or UK, which are usually more common destinations for international students? And I think it sort of goes right back to when I first started studying psychology in high school. And I realized that there's a huge gap when it comes to literature on maybe Asian countries or non-Western countries. And I figured maybe one of the best ways to really, get a full grasp of human psychology would be for me to dive into this gap and study in a place where I could potentially get the best of both worlds, because Hong Kong, of course, as a global cosmopolitan city, has both Western and Eastern cultural values in pretty much a small little microcosm. So for me, it just made sense to come to Hong Kong as a country to study, because I felt like it would be great insight into both the different types of cultures, and a great way for me to compare them to each other as well. And it really has been a really enlightening experience in that sense, because in a lot of our classes, we end up touching upon stuff in the way that it's done locally, and also in the way that it's done in maybe our home countries. And that really gives you an insight into the differences that span across maybe even the most basic things, such as what is the sort of behavior that's culturally appropriate. And I think when you think about the definition of psychology as the scientific study of human behavior, it becomes really important to get this sort of broad range of knowledge, so that you're able to maybe effectively develop treatments if you're interested in going into clinical psychology, or you're able to, come up with other theories that could help explain why we do the things that we do. And I think at CityU, one of the best things that they do is the emphasis on research. So I am currently looking at applying to master's programs so I can pursue further education. And I find, a lot of the applications, they ask, oh, do you have any research experience? And the fact that there's such a heavy emphasis on research experience from the beginning at CityU helps me a lot when I'm filling out the application, because I've had the incredible opportunity of working with quite a few of the machines in the Namsan laboratories, such as the BioPact 360 under Dr. Jillian Lai. And once you really get to experience these things hands-on at university, it really helps you figure out what you want to do in life. Because when I first applied to CityU, I thought I'd like to do something maybe in educational psychology. But then with the broad range of experience that I received, I've been sort of narrowing down the scope that I want to work with. And I finally decided, after a lot of my major classes and my elective classes, that I think I'd like to work in cognitive psychology instead. And my FYP is directly related to that. So I'm working with Dr. Yu we're exploring a particular brainwave and understanding how that could be used to explain, a level of proficiency in a second language based on accents. And that's something that's incredibly interesting, because there's not a lot of research on that yet. And in terms of real world applications, it could be used as a more objective measure of second language proficiency. So you could do away with like scores like the TOEFL and IBT, because, they are very subjective as well. So I think given all of this sort of opportunities that are available to you when you combine it with the international exchange, the psychology program at CityU is one of the most, I think, comprehensive ones I've ever seen overall. Quite a few of my friends study psychology abroad as well. And I think they do tend to find my program to be a little general, but that general nature of the program allows me the freedom to explore and understand what I really want to do, instead of constraining myself from the beginning. And I mean, it's not that it's general enough that you don't know what you're going to do after university. You can choose to tailor your elective choices. There is absolutely no rule that says, no, you absolutely must take 2 or 3 of these electives. You can mix and match which ones you want and really get a good understanding of what you want to do in the future. And I think Alison mentioned it a little bit. I don't speak Cantonese, so I couldn't understand what she was saying. But especially the professors in the psychology program at CityU, I think they're some of the most hands-on professors I've ever interacted with. Like, instead of having to go through a TA like you would maybe in the US or the UK, we have one-on-one conversations with our professors, and the sort of insight that you glean from them, since they're professionals in their field, it helps you so much when you're confused about, maybe what you want to do or what you want to study, or whether you think you're capable of doing something or not. And I think that is one of the highlights of the City Youth Psychology program as well, because without a lot of our professors, we wouldn't get the chance to experience research firsthand, and we wouldn't get the chance to really talk to professionals in the field that we're interested in working in and figure out if that's the right fit for us. And that is something that really, really helps when you reach the final year stage and you don't know what you're going to do after that and you're so confused. You're like, okay, maybe I can go talk to my professor. And that is such a reassuring thing to have at this stage. So yeah, I mean, I think it's fabulous that you guys are all interested in applying to the psychology program. The world always needs more psychologists, as far as I'm concerned. And I guess best of luck with your applications.
Okay, thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Brenda. Right, now we are going to have one more share, and I'm going to show you a video, and this is an alumni of ours, Melody, who graduated in 2009 and went on to study clinical psychology. So she's a clinical psychologist now working in Hong Kong. So yeah, let's have the sharing from Melody.
Hello， 大家好啊！我係 Melody， 係 CityU 2009年心理學系嘅畢業生。我而家係私人執業嘅臨床心理學家。喺城大嘅心理學系讀書咧，其實係一個非常開心嘅經歷啦，而且咧當中有好多好寶貴嘅知識學到嘅。咁我喺中學嘅時候咧，都未接觸過心理學。喺大學嘅時候咧，就發現原來心理學咧係有好多範疇嘅喎，例如有社會心理啦、發展心理、變態心理，甚至係犯罪心理學。咁喺接觸咁多科目裏邊咧，都令到我對心理嘅知識咧大開眼界，亦都發現好多呢啲嘅理論咧，其實可以應用喺日常生活裏邊嘅喎。咁接觸咁多唔同嘅科目咧，亦都幫我去發現自己嘅興趣喺邊一度，同埋去決定我將來嘅發展方向。即使後來咧係讀心理學嘅碩士嘅時候，或者係到而家嘅工作啦，都好需要用到以前學過嘅一啲知識嘅。就例如咧喺碩士嘅課程咧，要去懲教署度實習，去接觸一啲犯事嘅年輕人，嗰陣時都好需要用到頭先所講唔同嘅心理學範疇嘅知識嘅。喺另一方面咧，心理學系嘅 program 咧都俾學生去了解一啲心理學嘅知識，其實點樣應用喺一啲現實社會嘅情況入邊喎。咁喺我哋 final year 之前嗰個嘅暑假咧，其實我哋都有機會去做一啲嘅實習。我嗰陣時咧就有機會咧去了解一啲精神病患者同埋一啲社會俾到佢哋嘅支援。咁喺當中咧，我都發現其實精神病除咗喺我哋書本上邊所學到一啲典型嘅症狀之外咧，其實佢同我同你一樣咧，都係人啦，都有佢哋嘅強項、弱項，甚至佢哋一啲嘅喜好啦，或者人生目標等等。咁亦都睇到咧喺社會上邊佢哋有啲咩嘅困難同埋需要，亦都可以去觀察到一啲專業人士點樣係喺佢哋身上咧可以幫到佢哋嘅。成為心理學家咧，其實需要喺心理學學士之後，再最少完成多一個碩士嘅學位嘅。咁但係讀完心理學嘅學士咧，都唔一定要去做心理學家嘅喎。其實心理學嘅範疇好廣啦，咁好多行業都需要用到心理學嘅知識嘅。可以話咧，其實同人有關就同心理學可以扯上關係。就例如係企業管理啦、HR、marketing、教育、育兒、法律，甚至航空業咧，都好需要用到呢方面嘅知識嘅。可能好多同學都同我一樣，喺中學嘅時候未必有機會接觸過有關心理學嘅課程同埋一啲知識嘅。咁希望我今日嘅簡單嘅介紹都可以俾你對心理學有個簡單嘅概念，同埋明白多啲心理學學士嘅課程同日後嘅工作有啲咩關係。祝各位同學都可以入讀到你理想嘅學位啦！拜拜。
Right, okay. Just before we go on, we're going to move on soon and just do direct interactive Q&A sessions. And so we'll break up into 2 rooms. So you can either join the Cantonese Q&A session, and that will be with Vivian and Alison, or I will be, me and Brenda will be in the English Q&A session. But before we move on to that, I just wanted to have a little bit more sharing there. So we've had some sharing about, you've got an overview of the program, and then we've had sharing from a year 3 student, a final year student, and a graduate who's now a clinical psychologist. And I just want to encourage students really to keep your options open when you come in to study, because maybe you're already thinking now, oh, I definitely want to go on to, I don't know, study clinical psychology or educational psychology, as one of the students was just sharing before. And some of it is about sort of keeping your options open while you're studying on the programme. Try and get experience in different areas, whether that be directly through the programme, or also we have Project X within the department, and we have the City Youth Empowerment Project as well, where students can get the opportunity to do voluntary, through the Youth Empowerment Project, students can get the opportunity to sort of engage through voluntary work with different groups in Hong Kong. And so that can also give students some first-hand experience. Maybe you thought you really wanted to work with children, and then maybe you do some work with the Youth Empowerment Project with a youth cohort, and you realise that's definitely not the group that you'd like to work with. And so this sort of experience can be really helpful for you in terms of giving you a little bit more focus, even if it's just about what you don't like versus what you might want to go into. So yeah, with the research volunteer scheme as well, that also gives you more opportunities through internship and all of this sorts of thing. Vivian, have you got anything else that you'd like to contribute about the programme, or we'll just move straight into the